All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Cromwell Board of Finance public hearing for tonight. Before I read the notice and stuff here, I would like to do the Pledge of Allegiance. So, Steve, can you lead us in that, please? Thank you, everyone. All right, for the public hearing for the 2026-2027 general fund budget. In compliance with Article 8, Section 8.04 of the Cromwell Town Charter, notice is hereby given the Board of Finance of Cromwell, Connecticut will conduct a public hearing on Thursday, April 2nd at 6 p.m. at the Town Hall Council Chambers regarding the 26-27 proposed budgets of the Town Council, including the debt service budget and the Board of Education. Copies of the proposed budgets are available in the office of the Town Clerk, 41 West Street, Cromwell, Connecticut, and the Town of Cromwell's website, www.cromwellct.gov. Actually, we've literally just changed that. All electors and those qualified to vote in town meetings may attend and offer comments regarding any budget item. The Board of Finance will begin budget workshops immediately after the public hearings on April 2nd. A budget workshop will be held the following Tuesday, April 7th, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the Belden Room in the Cromwell Belden Library, with a subsequent budget workshop scheduled for Thursday, April 9th at 6 p.m. if necessary, and I stress that, and the Town Hall Council Chambers for any unfinished 2026 budget matters for the Cromwell Board of Finance, John Ireland, Chairman, March 20th, 2026. So now that we have kicked off the public hearing, we'll turn it over to our two presenters tonight. We'll start with Dr. Macri and the Board of Education. Thank you for coming through tonight. Please provide us with your presentation.
Thank you for let's. Yes, okay. So just quickly, thank you for having us, and good evening, everyone. Before we get started, do you quickly want me to run through CNR with Claudio and the town manager Salvatore up here, or do you want me to just start with the presentation as we always do?
Yep, the public hearing is strictly for your presentation. We'll start getting into specifics and questions and all that kind of stuff after. So for right now, this will just be your presentation piece.
Okay, then I'm going to ask Mr. Bazzano, yes, and switch with Mr. Botwell.
Perfect.
And then as I call you up, ladies, you could switch chairs out because I have certain people coming up.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Okay, great. So again, good evening. Thank you very much. We are here this evening to present our Board of Education budget with our Board of Education members, our chair, Alicia Gaduti, and whoever else is here right now, because I'm not 100% sure, Mr. Chu, and our team. I want to thank everyone. This has been a tremendous amount of work, and I can't thank Mr. Butwell enough, because as we move through this and try to explain it to people so that it's easier to understand, he's just been phenomenal in finding approaches and ways to make that easier for you. So a huge thank you to Mr. Butwell and everyone who has done this work. So on the first slide, and I don't know who's, oh, sorry. Okay.
You're good?
Great.
Okay.
So do you mind, Sarah? Okay, Sarah, do you mind if I'll just say next slide? Is that okay? Oh, you can't. Okay, great. So I'll have, yeah. Okay, thank you, Mrs. Gaduti. Okay, so obviously, why are we here? Our first slide tells us why we are here, our students. And I'd love to start everything with them because they are the core of everything that we do. The next page, you've seen this before. It hasn't changed. The mission of the Cromwell Public Schools, which I love and I always loved, is placing students first with equity, meaning accessibility to all students. The next slide is Cromwell Public Schools goals, and we just give you an idea of what we're working on with our district leadership team and our district improvement plan so that you can see where our focuses are. Of course, we always want to work on increasing academic performance by providing teachers with high quality, personalized professional development. We want to support the implementation of a new grade 3 through 5 math program. We are going to begin the implementation of a K through 2 math program. So you heard a lot about literacy in the past. Now you're going to hear a lot about math. And engage in best practices for professional development. Continue to develop our STEAM-driven curriculum for the new middle school, which has been incredible to see in action. Continue to collaborate with the town on building and facility upgrades and maintenance, which has been something I thought I would never see. So I thank everyone who is on that committee, and there's a few of them, so that we can continue to make our schools safe and welcoming to everybody. And then sustain programming supporting behavioral and SEL, which stands for social emotional learning needs of our students. So we're going to move forward and bring you to the part that you really want to see, the money. Budget increase by object. So we really want to show you this slide so that you can obviously notice, and you'll see it in a few different ways, and we're going to dig deeper into it as we move on. Our salaries and benefits, as you always know, are our top performers here, and you will notice some areas where there's a large decrease, and as you'll find out later in the presentation, a lot of that is because in equipment we are planning on using our reserve from last year to pay for capital outlay and technology. But I think the most important thing about this slide is if you were to add together salaries and benefits, the increase in salary and benefits are more than our total increase than our budget is, the bottom line budget is tonight. And so how did we do that? Obviously you see a lot of negatives there, so a lot of effort on everybody's part. The next page is the pie chart, and a few people have asked me, can you please do this in a bar graph? And I said, sure. So the next one is the bar graph, and it shows you that benefits and salary are 76% of our salary. This is a great visual. You can see where the pillars are, and you see how some are very, very low and very high. Again, the same information. What are our LEA, local education agency drivers? Our salaries, our benefits, our student services, transportation, energy and utilities, and state mandates. And we will talk more about that as we move on. Quickly, I will break down for you the increase and decrease by object. So obviously in salaries, the largest increases are there, and in benefits. And as we go through each of the objects, you're going to learn more. This gives you a little bit of a better picture of by object versus the total budget. The budget summary, budget growth over time, so you can see where we've been in the last couple of years. At 24-25, we had a 5.88% LEA increase, which was $38,290,244. Last year with a 6.03 increase, which was a $2,309,756 increase. And this year we are proposing a 4.64% increase at $1,882,767 for a total of $42,482,767. And we will get to how we got to that number of benefits a little bit later in the presentation. So things that the budget process in October, it starts in October, and I gather all the information from the building principals and all of the departments and the directors, and they come to me and ask, and we have conversations about what they need, what they feel they need to run the schools and their departments. So we started off with a 7.2%, and then we adjusted. The superintendent's recommended budget was a 6.61, and this is now, as the Board of Education's proposed budget, is a 4.64. And how did we get to that number? We had to make additions, clearly, because we start in October. So you will learn more about our state partnership plan that we have we're entering into for our insurance, but we're still going to stay self-insured through dental, so there's a cost to that. So we had to add that back in. Our pension contribution adjustment, we get this from the town, that's what we owe. And then our projected FSA fees, which is flexible spending account, and we'll talk to you about that later as well. Reductions for teaching and stipend salaries, we were looking to add some positions. We understand that this may not be the right time to do it, so we decreased those positions. The Board of Education decreased those positions, and that saved us $355,760. Support staff salaries, so the first one is certified. Second, support staff, again, $174,000 decrease. Benefits, that was benefits in general over time. We were looking at a decrease in benefits to begin with, depending on who was sitting in our work, setting today. And that changes all the time. It'll change again, depending on if people take family or single and such. The other thing that we're going to talk a lot about in a little while is we budgeted for a 25% increase in benefits, and we said there's no way it's ever going over that. We have never had this happen, but that was the number we were given by our Alera brokers. Well, long story short, we are now at 23.71, but it was not an easy road. We went out to bid. Our first number was above 50%, and we'll explain that too as well. Supplies and instructional and non-instructional equipment, we had a cut of about $40,000. So our budget items to be funded by the surplus funds is $396,636 after we put in for, our portion for the field. So taking in all of the reserve, which you'll hear more about again later, it's going to be applied to technology and capital outlay. We will move on to salaries 100. This speaks for itself. I just want to let you know that we just negotiated a new teacher contract that begins July 2026, and then all contractual increases across all bargaining groups, and that's how we have that increase. The next, you have asked us before, and we just feel like we should just continue to give this to you so you know when we're coming up on contracts. If you have any questions about this slide later, Mrs. DeMoro can answer everything for you. And now I'd like to invite Dr. McLean up, because this is all return of investment. You're spending all of this money, what are you getting? In our situation, what are our kids getting? How does this look for our students over time? So Dr. McLean, our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, is going to be very proud to share this data with you.
Yeah, when Dr. Macri asked me to share this, I said, absolutely, we can take a look at this data. This is why we're all here, and this is the success that we've had over the last couple years. If you take a look, this is AP success rate in Cromwell Public Schools. We are really, really proud of our students that take AP courses. College Board awards us with different distinctions each year based on how many students. So if you take a look at college culture, that's how many AP courses we offer, and like the different types of courses that students can take. The college credit category is about how many students are doing well enough on the AP exams to get college credits. And the college optimization one, which is a tough one, is that you have to have 2% of your overall graduating class that took 5 or more AP classes, one of which has to be in their freshman or sophomore year. It's not an easy category, but you can see that's where we're shining, and this chart is allowing you to see where we started a couple years ago and where we are headed now. And I think a lot of work has gone into making sure that we have prepared teachers and things like that, and the students are performing, which is excellent to see. This next slide is really just a graphic, and I have more straightforward information on the next slide about where our students are going to school. By far, we send students to UConn, which is a far more competitive school than it's ever been, really, and it's where we send the majority of our students. It beat out Central fairly recently, since 2022, and we still have, every year we have a handful of students that reach those elite universities and attend, an Ivy or a little Ivy. You can switch, and then this is just to give you kind of a list of where do Cromwell Public Schools students land after graduation. And so we've got students going all over the country and to some really great schools. And a lot of them we keep right here in Connecticut, which is also pretty amazing.
Dr. McLean. That's it for now for Dr. McLean. She gets all the good stuff. Quickly, as we move on to the next slide, we'll get into this a little bit more. We are asking for only 2 staffing positions, which are 2 full-time registered behavior technicians and those are to support our students with behavioral needs, social emotional needs in the district. And we'll tell you more about that, and you can ask about those when Siri O'Leary comes up to the podium. Next, Object 200. I'm going to have, it's clear cut, but I want you to know the process that we went through because we are completely in a different insurance plan starting July 1st. So I'm going to have Michelle DeMoro, Michelle and Lori, Rosanna, who is not here. I cannot thank enough. This is, when I tell you, probably close to 100 hours of work. They've done an excellent job, and she can explain it very well.
Hi, everyone. So as Dr. Macri stated earlier, the superintendent's initial budget came in at 25%. We never anticipated that we would be having such a high number come from Cigna from its renewal rate. And so when we got that first initial renewal rate of 52.42%, we were very concerned and we decided to go out to bid. And when we did go out to bid, there's only like maybe a handful of 4 to 5 insurance carriers in the state of Connecticut. And so there was one company that didn't even bid on our offer. And the ones that did come in, Cigna actually came in at 33.47, Anthem came in at 31.89. And at the time, the partnership plan before the Middlesex rates came out, we had to anticipate a range anywhere from 12 to 15%. So we went with a higher rate, which once you blend all the rates, it would have met an increase of about 28.30%. So we did talk to all of our unions. We had some courageous conversations with all of them and basically said, you know, this is the time if you're looking to possibly go to the state partnership plan. And all of our unions did decide to go, and our board did also approve it. And we were very lucky that the state partnership plan for Middlesex County actually came in at the lower end, under 12%. It was like 11.5. And so that brought us down to 23.71% in benefits. As I said, we initially budgeted for 25%. So we had a little savings in that area. As Dr. Macri also stated, there is a slight fee for an FSA. And what an FSA card is, just so you know, there's a little difference. It's called a flexible spending account card. And so we basically have to work with our broker to find a company to help monitor this card, and there's monthly fees involved. So to offer this card to our employees, there is a fee, and so that's one of the added costs in the budget.
Wow, all that work summed up into like 2 minutes. Impressive, right? it was quite fun. So just to give you an idea, benefits. This is where we've been over years. So when I heard the 25% number, I heard it since I got here. I'm like, yeah, right, it'll go down, it'll go down. It didn't go down, and honestly, we were able to take a look at some of the claims, and we want to provide our people with the support that they need, and they definitely need. It's pretty sad, and the claims are through the roof. But just wanted to let you know that if we got the same, if we did the same increase as we had last year, which was 7%, I'd be coming to you tonight with a 2.7% overall increase in the budget. So the rest of it is all benefits. Okay, and the next object is professional technical services, object 300. Again, you're going to see negative here, and this is really about a decrease in student services budget. So we have students who have graduated and left the district, and then we also have seen students who are staying within our district, and then we have a decrease, some decrease in curriculum development, but not too much. We also made a change, as like I said, Mr. Butwell, when he says this doesn't really fit here, I think it fits better here, I said do it, even though it may be a little complicated to understand, but we'll explain it to you. We shifted instructional and program improvement. It was in line 322. We feel that it should have been in 330. So, and other technical services, and we moved about $100,000 into that line. So it's just a switch in line, and you'll see this in the executive summary. And now I'll invite Mrs. Sari O'Leary, our Director of Student Services, to explain our efforts to reduce student costs over time.
Hi, everyone. So these things that we have in place on this slide are either things that we've already started or plan on either continuing or starting as new initiatives for next year. So I'll just go through them. We've really worked hard on our specialized classrooms for students with more intensive needs at ECS and WIS, as well as CMS and CHS. Specifically, ECS and WIS, we've added a full-time BCBA last year for this school year that has really impacted the students greatly in for our students at ECS with the, our most needy population. And what we're trying to do is, as always, keep students in district, which ends up reducing costs. So with that added BCBA support, the students are getting more behavioral support throughout the day, the teachers are getting more training, and the staff then in turn keeping kids in. Next year, as Dr. Macri mentioned, we're looking for 2 registered behavior technicians, RBTs as we call them, one to support at ECS and one to support at WIS. They're basically assistants, I'll call them in layman's terms, to the BCBA. They provide training, support to paraprofessionals, staff in the buildings. They provide support with programming for students with special needs. They handle behavioral crisis situations, supporting building admin, work one-to-one with students that may need it throughout the day. So there's been a lot of research and other districts, directors that I've worked with that have RBTs, and to have really strong programs, RBTs help support those students. As well, to support curriculum, we have tried this year and want to continue next year based on the budget to train our in-district staff on reading to support those students with special needs that have more specific reading needs. So these are just a few programs: Spire, Wilson Reading System, and Orton Gillingham. These programs help students grow, obviously through their IEPs, but to enhance the teachers' training, we really want to invest time and money. So again, our students can stay in district, get the support they need through their IEP, and we, for the betterment of the teachers and to enhance their training as well. And this all aligns with the science of reading. At the high school last year, we implemented a credit recovery program, which is an after-school program. It meets 4 days a week, 2 hours a day. We only have a very small number of students in it right now, but it's actually helped our students, a few of them, rather than sending them out to pay tuition for an out-of-district credit recovery program, keeps them in at their home school. They either attend a few periods at the end of the day and then continue with 2 hours after the school day, or for those that really can't attend due to some mental health crisis, come just for the 2 hours in the afternoon after the school day, and we've hired a certified teacher to do that, and it's been successful so far. Effective School Solutions, ESS, I know we've talked in length about, but we've continued to grow our ESS programming. We now have the 2 clinicians at the high school, and we have the 1 clinician at the middle school. They service a total of 30 students maximum. We've worked really hard to build partnerships with ESS, with our clinicians, to really make it successful for the students. And right now, we're looking in the budget, it's about $439,000 to keep the two programs in district for next year. And not an apples to apples comparison, but probably save between another $400,000 to $500,000 in outplacements of those students that we've kept in through this high level of social work, clinical support, wraparound services for our students with mental health needs. And lastly, our Central Connecticut Transition Academy, which we call CCTA, is the transition program that we started about 5 years ago now in Berlin. It's for our 18 to 22 students. And this is a collaborative, with Berlin, and it saved us tremendously in spending 60+ thousand for 10+ students to get outplaced. Rather, we spent about 230,000 to have as many students that we recommend for this program attend Berlin, and it's our program, and the students love it, and they have jobs, and they learn life skills and budgeting, and it's just a wonderful place. So it's still going strong, and I'm really proud of it. So, all right. So it's okay. Yeah.
So I also asked Sari to give another explanation of your return of investment, right? So how we are looking at a high level of students that are increasing, that have special needs, and over time, we're happy with what we're seeing. We can remember we were coming to you saying it's so high and we couldn't stabilize, and we feel that we are finally in a place where we know what's happening, and COVID didn't help us at all, but this is a slide that Sari can explain.
I'll thank Chris for helping put these slides together. But so the first slide, we have number of students on the left, and then year after year, how much the number of students have grown in district, and the budgeted amounts. And as you can see, the last 2 years or so, we've pretty much flatlined, which with the budgeted amounts, which means that what we're doing in district is working, and we're not continuing to spend large amounts of money on our students with special needs, especially to send them out. And then the next slide, per student cost, is again cost per student year after year. So as you can see, it's starting to flatline a bit, and getting closer year after year, and not increasing so much. And that's our goal. And then the last slide is student services population over time. We've compared our Cromwell students identified numbers to the state of students identified year after year. And it looks like, as you can tell from the colors, they're almost blended almost perfectly, which means we're pretty much in line with the increase of students that are receiving special needs in Cromwell and the state. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. O'Leary. Object 400, property services. I'm going to now turn the mic over to Mr. Butwell, and he'll get into some of this information for you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So property services 400, quite a few different swings happening here. With the new middle school, we are anticipating some increase in maintenance costs and capital maintenance costs, as well as grounds costs. However, we offset a good amount of that cost with a budget reduction due to applying our surplus amount to our capital outlay. That entire account, the capital outlay was $85,000, so we were able to apply all of the money towards that to reduce the 400 property services. Object 500, again, a lot of moving parts here, some increases and some decreases, but the result is an overall decrease. As expected, we did have increases in district student transportation and student services transportation, an increase in our tech purchased services. We need to get a new firewall, a decrease in student services tuition. As Mrs. O'Leary mentioned, and Dr. Macker, we've had a few students that will be leaving this district. A decrease in our magnet school tuition budget due to decreased enrollment there. A small decrease in our property insurance budget, and then we applied the surplus to that cost for a firewall in the amount of $60,000. So overall, a 1.8% decrease in that area. Supplies object 600 increase. We're anticipating increases in energy and utilities, which is most of that amount. We also do have a smaller increase in instructional supplies. $700 equipment. We really applied a lot of our surplus amount to our technology, which includes our loans that we have still outstanding for equipment purchases. Those were 4-year loans, and then also applied some of that amount to actual purchase of equipment itself. So a huge decrease there thanks to the surplus. And then filing dues and fees, object 800. although it looks like a large 9% increase, it's only about $6,000. And that's due mostly to needing to increase or add NEASC dues at the high school level. That was a large amount, so not much to say there for dues and fees, otherwise about the same. The next slide, I think we talked a little bit about this last year, just trying to get a big picture of the education funding and the pieces that go into it. So this is 24-25 information, because it's the only year, this is the most recent year that we have the full picture for. So you can see at the top, the 24-25 approved Board of Ed budget for $38 million. And then you can see that if you go down below, part of that is reimbursed through the state through the Education Equalization Grant in the amount of about $5.5 million. And so the town's portion is $32,700,000. Other grants that we receive, state and federal grants, about $3.5 million. And so for 24-25, our total funding was about $41,800,000. And then the next slide is just a pie chart of that information that I just went over with you. And then now we'll talk about our DIRGs.
Great. Okay, so as you know, District Reference Group, DIRG, we are DIRG D, has a lot to do with socioeconomics and how we are similar to these towns. And as far as our ranking per pupil expenditure, we are number 17. So you can obviously read the difference in the first ranked and the difference from the average. And that's where we fall. And then the next page is budget, BOE budget increases. So we tried to get as many from our DIRG. 15 out of 20 districts are reporting BOE budget increases. This is where they fell. And we did hear from Rocky Hill. They landed at an 8.98 for the BOE budget. So we are 15 out of 25, and it's still continuing. So we wanted to just let you know about that. And then we end where we begin with the most important part of why we do what we do, our amazing students. And we are ready to answer questions.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, Mr. Salvatore, you set to go?
My faithful assistant, unfortunately, she's,
You give it to me, I'll click for you.
I don't even know where it is. Do you have it? Unfortunately, she's tied up, and hopefully she'll be here shortly.
Tony, do you have paper copies?
Huh?
Do you have any paper copies or no?
Yeah, I do.
You want me to, maybe I can pass them out.
No, she didn't bring enough.
Want me to hand one to John?
No, that's the whole packet. I know. I'll pass. Yeah. I don't have enough copies. She didn't. Why don't you let them go ahead, and then I'll come, you're in a public hearing. She never showed me.
Email it to this computer.
I don't know where she put it. I'm assuming it's in this one. I don't even.
You want me to try to?
I don't she's on her way, 3 minutes out. She must be driving. She said she's 3 minutes out. I don't know what to tell you.
All right, she should be here.
Yeah, let me give her a call and see where
Okay.
she is.
Steve could put a plug in for an event later this year if he wants to advertise.
Where are you? Where are you? Yeah, how do I get into your computer? Yeah. Okay, now what? Presentation.
Mr. Central, is there a copy machine? I could just, I'm happy to help you make some
It's right
copies.
there.
What's that?
No, that's,
It's on that computer.
It is now?
Yeah. Finance finance. Yeah, it's right here. There you go.
want me to click for you?
If you don't mind.
No problem.
Okay.
It's already there.
Yeah, I have it up, but it has the, each slide on the left side. How do I? Yeah, okay, thank you. Yep, bye. Yeah, no, we have it, thank you. Thank you. Okay, we, have a, presentation, if you don't mind. Once again, it's, as always, a pleasure to be here. If you, go ahead. The first page gives a brief outline of, town government and the challenges, and to provide an improved quality of life and plan for the future. And the town of Cromwell prides itself in providing quality services, public safety, culture, enriching programs. The town's top priority is to enhance the community while maintaining a level of services with affordability, and that's the key word, affordability. I want to thank all my department heads and their staff for the dedication and commitment to the town, and they have helped raise service levels while managing costs. Next slide gives you an idea of the past 5 years and a budget summary and the percentages on increases and decreases. And over the years, you'll see that we've been pretty stable. Both the commitment of the town, the Board of Education, and the work done by the Board of Finance has led to what I believe to be reasonable mill rate and taxes for our taxpayers. Next page is a budget highlight. Total general government budget is $23,783,450 as approved by the town council. 3.87 increase, 4.46 without capital non-reoccurring items, or a $886,972,000 over the 25-26 budget, including capital non-reoccurring request. CNR historically, as we know, been funded by general fund balance, and 26-27 request is $1,956,949 versus 25-26, which was at $2,135,852. Of the $1,956,649, $1,490,245 is town request, and $466,404 is the Board of Education. Similar to the Board of Education, 75% of our total budget is employee wages and benefits. Increase in wages was 4.86 due to contractual obligations, and understanding that number is as a result of steps required by our collective bargaining agreement, as well as a wage adjustment to our employees. Employee benefits, the employer pension contribution, MERS, the state plan for police officers, increased due to contractual increases. As with the Board of Education, health insurance is major, and it came, ours came in at 40% increase, and as a result, the town also pursued different avenues similar to the Board of Education, and explored and ultimately joined the state partnership plan. Joining today would result in a 9% increase compared to what we are presently paying, and effective 7/1/2026, the projected increase is approximately 11%, resulting in approximately 20% increase on 7/1 over our current rates. Increase in actuarial determined employer contribution due to salary increases and increases in population. Some of the highlights that we wanted to bring to your attention is our library and the outstanding job that they are doing, and they are outperforming versus the Connecticut state average, and we are the blue and the green, and you'll see our visits are up as well as our circulations, and our library delivers 81% more circulation and 24% more visits than the state average, and at roughly half the cost per transaction. I can't be more proud than I am with regards to our library and what they are providing to our taxpayers. Next one, please. And additional highlights, CBPL has developed a suite of sustainable focus programs that have resonated strongly with the community, including plant swaps, clothing swaps, and a children's garden, as well as food composting initiative. They're always thinking outside the box, and they always have a large following with their programs. The The library is also working towards certification through Sustainable Library Initiative, which would recognize our library among a selected group of libraries committed to environmental stewardship and responsible institutional practice. The library's growth in visits and circulations and programming reflects a community that is increasingly relying on and investing in our library. And we have a library that continues to meet that trust with expanded services and civic pride. Another program that we're highlighting is the recreation department. Unfortunately, we're going to be losing our director to another community. He's done an outstanding job while he's been here in Cromwell, and one of the highlights of us taking over the farmers market when the individual that was running it decided to move out of state, and I sat down with him and asked him if we could make it a recreation program, which he did. And I have to admit, they've done an outstanding job with this. The Town of Cromwell Farmer Market returns for the 2026 season at Riverport Park, and dedicated to supporting the local economy, enhance the quality of life, and promoting the health and environmental benefits of eating locally. The market has become a valued community tradition. Fridays 4 to 7, and it's transformed the park into a town square where visitors can come enjoy farm fresh vegetables, local source products, vendors, food trucks, live music, and we're welcoming a wonderful season, hopefully. And the next page gives you some of the highlights of our summer concert series, which we run through the recreation department. Additional highlights with this budget, as I stated: increase in medical dental insurance and pension contributions. Human resources, as a result of the charter change that included a human resource director, I established a new department within general government budget that reflects that, and working towards hiring a human resource director. Town planner and planning and zoning, zoning regulations rewrite and formatting, and community events committee, which is new this year, it was added to the boards and commissions, and we have an increase for departmental expenses, fireworks, everything associated with establishing a successful Riverport Festival. Continuing with additional highlights: elections, increases in that area due to early voting, and this year primaries for gubernatorial elections. Donations and dues, increased donation to the Historical Society for the 250th celebration. In addition, increase to the Cromwell Cultural District. The Health Department, an increase for electronic inspection software, and in youth services, change of the youth service assistant from a part-time position to a full-time. There's a minimal impact in the budget because we're going to use funding from the opioid grant and the juvenile review board grant. Our pie chart, you'll see where our expenses are. General government is 24.34, boards and commissions 0.48%, public works 22.69%, public safety 20.58%, human services 3.86%, and recreational culture 4.79%. state aid. The governor's proposal for state aid to Cromwell generally reflects level funding, with the exception of a decrease in the pilot aid program and a slight decrease in the adult education program. Other general fund revenue, reduction in investment income reflects the drawdown on the short-term note we had as a result of the new middle school. And the grand list reflects a slight decrease of 0.10% due to exemptions. Next page gives you the impact on the budget. And it compares it to previous years. The total increase in general government reflects 7.99%, boards and commissions 4.51%, public works 9.15%, public safety 20.37%, human services 9.08%, library recreation 5.9%, employee benefits, similar as the Board of Education has noted, over half at 59.4% increase. Initially, when looking at the budget, my my cuts were to reduce increase for the director, reduce early voting expenditures, made various reductions in the divisions within public works, and eliminated technology stipend and reduction to the library director. Still on the watch list is solid waste disposal, which continues to be a challenge not only for Cromwell but the entire state. Utilities, electricity rates, and some increase due to additional street lights for new developments, and highway overtime, especially in light of this recent winter. Legal fees, depending on the status of existing and future court cases, and negotiations for collective bargaining agreements. Presently, I'm negotiating with 2 of our unions. Capital improvement. Charter requires town council adopt a 5-year capital improvement every year. Charter also requires capital improvement plan to be reviewed with the operating budget, as we're doing proposed funding through general fund balance. $1,956,649 capital requests were approved. $3,846,165 capital items requested. $2,191,995 was the town. $1,651,170 was the Board of Ed. Possible other sources for revenue identified for some requests were special revenue fund, general fund, and state bonding grants. The next slide gives you an itemized look at proposed capital non-reoccurring fund. Some of the big ones: the assessor for reval, which is required by state statute, $350,000. Public Works got the bulk of it, $997,075. I'd like to point out, while Human Services for the senior disabled transportation vehicle is at $143,170, 80% of that will be coming back through a grant. The rest are the public works items that were approved and will be gone over in this budget request. Next slide shows continue items under public works. New double door for the library, refurbishing a 2012 Mason dump, and improvements to field fencing in the parks for $34,000. Capital improvement plan items proposed, and for the Board of Education, and they'll be presenting those tonight to you. And again, that totaled $466,404. Current projects for the town, as pointed out, the middle school and central offices opened at the beginning of the school season, winding down, outstanding job, and something that the entire town can be very proud of. Another project that we completed this year was permanent bathrooms at Cromwell High School, accessible male, female bathrooms at the athletic complex, and they're in a central location. We completed the sidewalks on Willowbrook Road from number 47 north to the intersection of Evergreen Road, and that was through a state grant. And we are in the process of rejuvenating the Rose Garden. A picture that you see there is how it looks after we redid the walkways in it, from processed dust to pavers, and we did a complete leveling. We're going to be adding irrigation and new plantings this season. And the Rose Garden is a shared public space dedicated to growing and enjoying roses. This garden is designed not just for beauty, but for education, relaxation, community engagement. Public-private funding was used to rejuvenate it from the Cromwell Creative District and an AARP grant, and that's how we were able to complete these major improvements. Our sidewalks, we continue to make them ADA compliant, and a number of the entrances at intersections have been upgraded, as you see here, with the required sheet that indicates that is now ADA compliant. Next slide gives you a comparison of where we were last year compared to this year in debt services. And that's because the middle school is coming online. And as you all know, we're legally required to make annual payments on existing bond obligations and determine at issuance. And we three bonds issued that are outstanding: 2016 roads, facilities, and equipment. We did a refund in 2017. 2019 is the new public works facility, and 2025 is the middle school central offices. Total increase of $860,379, or 30.94%. And we continue to pay down the existing debt, increase of $2,469,819 in principal and interest for the new middle school. Pie chart gives you an idea of the debt. with the blue being the town government, the red being the Board of Education, and debt service is the green. As always, the budget as approved by the town council is $2,043,413 less than what was requested by the departments, including capital improvement requests, while maintaining programs, services that our community has come to expect. And the budget provides funding to maintain and improve our infrastructure and capital assets. Number of factors was, of course, due to global factors, continuing supply chain challenges and rising inflation. We were successful to lock gasoline in already for next fiscal year, and we'll be working shortly to lock in diesel. Hopefully at the end of this conflict, when prices come down, hopefully significantly. However, we do continue to experience increases with difficulty, and the cost related in compared to prior years appears to be substantial. Town mill rate has been relatively stable for 20 years. Fluctuations from 29 mills in 2004-05 fiscal year to 27.33 mills in 2025-26 fiscal year. A low of 26.16 and a high of 31.68, and we've experienced during that period 4 revals. As always, this budget was created with every effort to maintain programs, services to the community with the intention of keeping the tax impact at a minimum. Thank you. And after the Board of Education, we'll be presenting our budget.
All right. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it. At this time, I will welcome up anyone who has any public comment. Going once? Twice? Okay. Unless there's anything else I'm missing, I think we're good to close this public hearing. Everybody good? Okay. We will close this at 7:07. Let's give ourselves a few-minute break. We'll start up the meeting at 7:15.